Hello everyone, welcome to Genius Online Classes and I'm Priyadharshini teaching you Telangana movement. So we are done with administrative reforms of the Salajang 1 and origins of issue of Mulkis and non-Mulkis, employment of civil services rules. Yes, and next topic we're gonna discuss is about 7th Nizam's Farman of 1919. And even the definition of Mulki. So this is what exactly mentioned in your group 1 mains syllabus. So I'm going topic wise so that you will get a clarity in a chronological wise. And one more thing I just want, you can see here, already I shown you that we are done with administrative reforms of the Salarjung. Yes, and next we have done with the origins of the issue of Mulkis and non-Mulkis, employment and civil services rules under Mir Osman Ali Khan. Yes, now we are discussing 7th Nizam's Farman 1919 and also the definition of the Mulki. So very important. Just to remember one thing, I just want to tell you that we already came to know that there are 3 phases in the origins of issue of Mulkis and non-Mulkis issue. When we have read from 1853 to 1883, that is during the time of the Salajang 1. That is considered as the first phase of the Mulkis and non-Mulkis issue. And the second phase we already read, that is from after the death of the Salajang 1, that is from 1884 to 1911. So listen here, the third phase is from 1911 till integration of Hyderabad into Indian Union. So all these the next topics like 7th Nizam's Farman of 1919 and the definition of the Mulki comes under which phase, Nana? That comes under the third phase of the Mulki issue or Mulki and non-Mulki issue. So idi intaku mundu videos toni continuity ga chadavali, separate ga chadavoddu. And so coming into the topic again, first, before a small introduction to the Farman, that when the Farman was introduced and why it was introduced, all these things. Because Farman 1919 does not deal only with the Mulkis and non-Mulkis issues. It was implemented for other purpose, and in that some of the provisions are related to the Mulkis. So that is why it's a necessity that we have to know the background of the Farman 1919. So first, I'll tell you certain prelims factual information. By the 6th Nizam, who was the 6th Nizam? And Mir Mahbub Ali Khan, in 1892, he introduced a new constitution. Who introduced a new constitution, Anna? It was 6th Nizam Mir Mahbub Ali Khan in 1892 have introduced a new constitution. What is the name of the constitution? Kanun Cha Mubarak. So, important fact you have to remember, a new constitution framed. Kanun Cha Mubarak was related to which of the following? It's a new constitution. Who framed it? The 6th, during the time of this 6th Nizam Mir Mahbub Ali Khan. When it was framed? In 1892. So, these are the 3 prelims fact you have to remember. So, as 6th Nizam concentrated on the constitutional reforms, the next Nizam, 7th Nizam, who was the 7th Nizam? Mir Osman Ali Khan, he have introduced many of the political reforms. So, in order to continue this political reforms, he have issued a Farman in 1919 on 17th November. So, this is one more prelims fact you have to remember, Nana. When this Farman 1919 was introduced or issued, it is on November 17th, 1919. So, for what purpose it was issued? For political reforms. What it have done? First thing, it have abolished the cabinet council. This is very important. Now the present government also have the cabinet, where not all the council of ministers will have the responsibility or to advise the prime minister. The prime minister will appoint certain members of the department who are very small cabinet. So not all the 14 department members will be there in that. Few important department members will be sitting in the cabinet. So they will only advise the prime minister apart from all the departments. That is what the cabinet council, we all know it. So this was abolished in this Farman. Instead of this cabinet council, what was established? An executive council was established. Yes, the existing cabinet council was abolished and in place of it an executive council was established. What was the name of this executive council? Bab-e-Hukumat. Once again, I'm telling you, Bab-e-Hukumat is the name of the executive council which was established through farman. Then these executive council consists of a group of members, group of ministers. Yes, so it consists of a president also. Means the whole executive council will have a president. What is a position or what is a president named called as Sadr-e-Azam is the position given to the president of this executive council. So who was the first president of this executive council? Sir Syed Ali Imam was the first president of this executive council. So who gonna sit in this executive council? The members will be selected by the Nizam itself. Yes, so we all know that Salarjung I have bifurcated our whole administration into different 14 departments. So not all 14 departments were existing, but what were the departments portfolios which were existing now? Some of the members of these departments were chosen as members. So departments lo evaraithe untaro vallani members ga choose chesukodam jarugutundi. And these members are responsible for their official things. Whatever they are doing, they have to be accountable and they have to tell, for this purpose I have done it and for the welfare of the people I have done, which is very unique thing. They are responsible for their official actions, and the decisions in this executive council were taken in based on the majority. అంటే అందులో మెంబర్స్ ఎంతమంది ఉంటారో దాంట్లో ఎక్కువ మంది ఏ ప్రపోజల్ని యాక్సెప్ట్ చేస్తారో దాట్ విల్ బీ కన్సిడర్డ్ యాజ్ అ లా or that will be prevailing. So decision will be taken in this president council based on what, Nana? It was based on majority. But remember here, the first president, Sir Syed Ali Imam unnar kada, he was also the prime minister of the 7th Nizam from August 1919 to 22nd September 1922. It means that the prime minister himself will become the president of the council. So remember, executive council was established, it abolished the cabinet council. In place of the cabinet council, an executive council was established. And what was the name of the executive council? Bab-e-Hukumat. And it consists of the president. The president position is called as Sadr-e-Azam. And who was the first president of this executive council? Sir Syed Ali Imam. He was also the prime minister of the 7th Nizam Mir Usman Ali Khan from the August 1919 to September 1922. So next what happened? The executive council members will be appointed by whom? I already told you that those persons will be appointed by the Nizams. And the president, who was also the prime minister of the Nizams, and 7 members will be appointed. Even special members can also be appointed to the council. Whenever there is a requirement that we want certain dignitaries who are excelling in certain academics or law department or judicial department, then Nizam will have authority to appoint some special members also to this council. So this is all about the executive council. So in this farman, whatever we have talked now, November 17th, 1919 issue chesina farman lo 10th paragraph lo something, there is a definition related to the Mulki. Yes, the 10th paragraph of the farman of 1990 clearly it mentions that Mulkis should be given preference in public appointments. Whenever there is a government jobs, then it clearly mentioned that the priority or the preference have to be given to whom, Nana? It have to be given to the Mulkis. So that is why Farman 1919 is important. Once again, I'm telling you, Farman 1919 is not completely related to only the Mulki and non-Mulki issue problems, but it was introduced on the name of the political reforms, and in that some of the provisions are related to the Mulki issue. What was the criticism in this? As we all know that the rule was mentioned that only the Mulkis have to be appointed. In the similar way, there are also certain exceptions for it. What I mean by exceptions, like the rule also have some exceptions. In case if the qualification, what are the qualifications required for a particular job are not not capability, like none of the mulkis were available with that similar qualifications, then definitely there is an opportunity that you can appoint a non-mulki person who have the similar qualification in place of the mulkis. The similar provision, this was a problem what has been happening in the previous gazettes and the farmans and all the rules and regulations also. They were providing the rules, but they are also providing certain exceptions, because we do not have well talented westernized administrative structure, and also those talented people were not there in our mulki area, because I already told you that our education system is like traditional way of education system, where we are expecting on the reforms in the form of the westernized reforms or British administrative system wise reforms. So even when Osmania University was established in 1918, we already experienced and we have learned that how the injustice was done to the mulkis by appointing more number of the teachers of the Osmania University as non-mulkis, and also the translators as the non-mulkis, and they preferred the Urdu of Lucknowi Urdu, and also they framed the curriculum which is providing the basic education to the mulki people, but it's not imbibing the skills which were needed for to becoming an efficient administrator. So all these drawbacks and the loopholes were running day by day, and it is increasing the agitation or conflict between the mulkis and non-mulkis. The same situation once again. The rule was provided, and it was also given with an exception that whenever you do not find a mulki with that qualification, you will have an opportunity to appoint a non-mulki with the similar qualification in that particular position. So once again, what happened? Yes, by looking into the loopholes, the non-mulkis have appointed more number of non-mulkis in the place of the mulkis government jobs. So again, non-mulki made use of this exception, and we also came to know about the Osmania University episode earlier. So the issue did not end. So the Nizam have appointed to report on these constitutional reforms according to the farman. So what were the constitutional reforms we have done, how these constitutional reforms are being run, or how it being implemented, whether we are okay with the constitutional reforms or any further changes and the proposals are needed or what. So in order to check this, Nizam have appointed a committee which was headed by Rai Balmukund. So very important andi, Rai Balmukund committee ఎందుకోసం పెట్టారు, కాన్స్టిట్యూషనల్ రిఫార్మ్ సరిగా ఇంప్లిమెంట్ అవుతున్నాయా లేవా, అండ్ ఇంప్లిమెంట్ అవ్వకపోతే ఫ్యూచర్లో మనం ఎలాంటి ప్రపోజల్స్ చేయాలి అని చెప్పేసి రాయ్ బాల్ ముకుంద్ కమిటీని నిజాం మీర్ ఉస్మాన్ అలీ ఖాన్ ఎస్టాబ్లిష్ చేయడం జరిగింది. సో సమ్ బేసిక్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ అబౌట్ ద పర్సనాలిటీ రాయ్ బాల్ ముకుంద్. యూ కెన్ సీ దట్ హియర్, దిస్ ఇస్ ద పర్సన్ రాయ్ బాల్ ముకుంద్. So who was he? He belonged to the Khatri community of Old City. You have many different types of communities, Kayastas, Bilgramis, who came from the non-mulki areas. So he belongs to which community, Nana? He belongs to the Khatri community. And one more important prelims fact you have to remember, that he was the first Hindu mulki graduate. This is very, very important. Who among the following was the first Hindu Muslim graduate from the Hyderabad princely state? It was Rai Balmukund. From where he got educated, or from where he graduated? He obtained its BA degree from Madras University in 1885. Remember that in 1885, INC, Indian National Congress, was established. So parallel to that, who was the first mulki graduate from Hyderabad princely state? You can remember that it was Rai Balmukund, who graduated from Madras University in 1885. Not only this, in 1908 he was also appointed as the judge of the High Court. హైదరాబాద్ హైకోర్ట్ విచ్ వాస్ ఫౌండెడ్ ఇన్ 1890, దానికి జడ్జిగా కూడా తను వర్క్ చేయడం జరిగింది. సో హౌ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ద పర్సన్ ఈస్ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. అండ్ అపార్ట్ ఫ్రమ్ దిస్, యూ నో దిస్ ఫిగర్ దట్ హీ వాజ్ భాగ్యరెడ్డి గారు. అలాంగ్ విత్ భాగ్యరెడ్డి వర్మ, Rai Balmukund and Bhagyareddy Verma garu both have worked for the upliftment of the Dalits, and they do not want to discriminate the Dalits, so they have done much more contributions for the upliftment of the Dalits. So these are some basic informations about the Rai Balmukund. So coming back to the report again, as Nizam Mir Osman Ali Khan have appointed a committee in order to check how the constitutional reforms are being implemented, and that was Rai Balmukund committee. So when this report was given, yes, when the report was submitted, it was submitted on 6th September 1921. What the report says, what were the executive council which was established in the farman, just now we have read. So the council members have to be increased to 104. Number of council members have to be increased to 104, and among this, half of the council members should be nominated by the Nizam and half of the council should be elected by the separate constituencies and cheppesi the report will be given. You can see half should be nominated by the government and the remaining should be elected from the separate constituencies. That is very, very unique. So, but the problem with this report is it was neither implemented nor disclosed to the public. అసలు రిపోర్ట్ ఏం చేశారు, రిపోర్ట్ వచ్చిందా లేదా అనేది అవగాహన కూడా పబ్లిక్కి లేదు, బికాస్ ద ముల్కీ ఎడ్యుటేషన్ వాజ్ స్టిల్ కంటిన్యూయింగ్ అండ్ నో వన్ కేర్డ్ అబౌట్ ద report of this Rai Balmukund. We all concentrating on to how to tackle the Mulki agitation. So here comes the topic Usman Ali Khan Farman 1919. As I already told you that Farman was issued on November 17, 1919. The Farman consists of certain provisions related to the Mulki, and it clearly mentioned that Mulkis have to be given priority in the government jobs. So for what purpose this Usman Ali Khan Farman was issued in 1919? For the protection of the Mulkis. What were the features? The first, only Mulkis should be appointed in government jobs, as it is earlier Farmans and Gazettes was also containing the similar provision. This is very important. Manaki topic enti 7th Nizam's Farman 1919 and definition of the Mulki. So here comes the definition of the Mulki. Very important. What is the definition of the Mulki? Mulki meaning is different and definition is different. Mulki meaning kya hota hai? Like locals, localites or domicile members and all these things, Deccanese. Coming to the definition of the Mulki, a person who is born in the Nizam can be considered as a Mulki. Second thing, a person who is residing in Hyderabad continuously for 15 years and unwilling to live. According to the earlier definitions of the Mulkis, it was 12 years nana. Hope you remember that 12 years continuous ga evaraithe Hyderabad lo reside ayyi untaro vallani we considered as Mulkis. But Farman 1919 prakaram 15 years continuous ga evaraithe Hyderabad lo untaro, those persons will be considered as a Mulkis. And thing is, they should not have thought to go back to their native areas. Ante 15 years ippudu unna kuda తర్వాత కూడా మేము ఇంకా ఇక్కడే ఉంటాము అన్న ఆలోచన ఉన్న వాళ్ళని we consider as Mulkis according to the Farman 1919. And third one, the children who did job for 15 years in Hyderabad state. అంటే ఇక్కడ వర్క్ చేయడానికి ఎవరైతే నాన్ ముల్కీస్ వచ్చినారో వాళ్ళు 15 years కంటిన్యూస్గా ఉంటే డెఫినెట్లీ దే విల్ బి కన్సిడర్డ్ యాజ్ అ ముల్కీస్. అండ్ ద చిల్డ్రన్ బార్న్ టు దిస్ నాన్ ముల్కీస్ హూ వర్ కంటిన్యూస్లీ రెసైడింగ్ ఇన్ హైదరాబాద్ ఫర్ 15 years, they were also considered as Mulkis. And wife of a Mulki, even though the woman, the wife is wife who was a non-Mulki person, if a non-Mulki wife married to a Mulki husband, then also the status of the Mulki person will be confined or given to the non-Mulki woman. It means that if I am a Mulki man and I married a non-Mulki woman, so wife of a Mulki will be also be considered as a Mulki. And next, Mulki woman marrying a non-Mulki man, ulta. If a Mulki man marrying a non-Mulki woman, then that non-Mulki woman will become a Mulki. That we have read. If think that was reversed, like a Mulki woman have married a non-Mulki man, then the Mulki status for that woman will be confiscated or will be taken back. You're getting my point? Mulki woman marrying a non-Mulki woman definitely will not get a definitely they will not be given the status of the Mulki. But think that what Mulki women have married a non-Mulki man. If think that I have married a person who is from UP and I went and I stayed there, so my citizenship status will be lost. But if think that my husband dies and then I have to return, so if a Mulki woman married a non-Mulki man and if the husband dies and if she was willing to stay in the Hyderabad and she want to come back to the Hyderabad and she want to wish her whole life to be in Hyderabad, then her citizenship will be continued. It means that she can be considered as a Mulki. Once again I am telling you, if a Mulki woman married a non-Mulki man, then her status of what Mulki will be lost. But if her husband died and she came back to the Hyderabad state, she want to stay continuously here, then she will be considered as Mulki. But children of that particular lady will not be considered as a Mulki, because in order to consider a children as a Mulki, children's father should be definitely Mulki. ఇక్కడ woman is Mulki. బయట తను మ్యారీ చేసుకుంది నాన్ ముల్కీ పర్సన్ని కాబట్టి ద చిల్డ్రన్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ ముల్కీ ఉమెన్ కెనాట్ బి కన్సిడర్డ్ యాజ్ అ ముల్కీస్. అండ్ ఇవన్నీ ఎవరు ముల్కీ ఎవరు నాన్ ముల్కీ అనే సర్టిఫికేట్ ఎవరు ఇస్తారండి? ఆల్మోస్ట్ ద డిక్లరేషన్ సర్టిఫికేట్ ఫ్రమ్ హయ్యర్ ఆఫీసెస్ లైక్ కలెక్టర్ క్యాడర్ ఉన్న ఆఫీసెస్ వాళ్ళు మనకి ఈ డిక్లరేషన్ సర్టిఫికేట్ దట్ యు ఆర్ అ ముల్కీ అండ్ యు ఆర్ నాట్ అ ముల్కీ అని చెప్పేసి డిక్లరేషన్ సర్టిఫికేట్ ఇవ్వడం జరుగుతుంది. So these are all mentioned in the farman. As I already told you that Mulki woman marrying a non-Mulki who is residing outside of the Hyderabad, if she returned to Hyderabad after his death or divorce, can be considered as Mulkis. But her children are not considered as Mulkis. Already నేను ఇది explain చేశాను. You would just write it down. So these are certain provisions mentioned in the farman 1990. సో హౌ టు గెట్ అ సర్టిఫికేట్, డిక్లరేషన్ సర్టిఫికేట్ కలెక్టర్ క్యాడర్లో ఉన్న వాళ్ళు మనకి సర్టిఫికేట్ ఇస్తారు అని అన్నాం. సో హౌ టు గెట్ ది సర్టిఫికేట్స్? దేర్ ఆర్ సర్టన్ రూల్స్ టు ఇష్యూ ద సర్టిఫికేట్. ఇఫ్ థింక్ దట్ ఐ హ్యావ్ అప్లైడ్ ఇన్ ఎ తాలూక్ కలెక్టర్ ఆఫీస్లో, లైక్ ఐ అప్లైడ్ ఫర్ అ ముల్కీ సర్టిఫికేట్, దెన్ థింక్ దట్ ఇఫ్ మై కలెక్టర్ క్యాడర్ ఆఫీసర్ హ్యావ్ రిజెక్టెడ్ మై సర్టిఫికేట్, లైక్ నాకు ముల్కీ అనే సర్టిఫికేట్ని రిజెక్ట్ చేసేసాడు, దెన్ ఐ కెన్ గో ఫర్ ద హయ్యర్ అథారిటీ. సో తాలూక్దార్ ఆర్ కలెక్టర్ క్యాడర్ ఆఫీసర్ రిజెక్ట్ చేస్తే యూ కెన్ గో టు ద హయ్యర్ అథారిటీ అండ్ యూ కెన్ అపీల్ ఫర్ వన్ మోర్ టైమ్. బట్ యూ హ్యావ్ సర్టన్ టైమ్. యూ కెన్ సీ దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ అప్పీలేట్. Yes, if talukdar rejects the applicant certificate, then it can be appealed to subedar. So 5 subas ga already unnai kadandi. Subedar is the head of the province. So we can again appeal to the subedar. Within how many days? Within a month of this rejection. Ante you can't continue for a long time. If talukdar rejected my Mulki certificate, then within a 1 month I have to appeal to the subedar, and the decision of the subedar is the final. Yes, subedar decision is binding on the applicant. It means that I don't have again further appellate. Here if subedar will give me certificate, then I have to take it. If the subedar will once again reject my Mulki certificate, then I have to abide by it. This is the first rule. And second rule, cancellation of the certificate. If they found that you have gained the Mulki certificate through false information. Yes, ante fake information or false information ichi you have gained the Mulki certificate. If the government found that you have received the Mulki certificate with the false information, then you will be punished. That is very, very important. Immediately your certificate will be cancelled. Not only this, not only your certificate will be cancelled, you will also be given punishments. Yes, you will also be given punishments after the trials in the courts. These are the 2 provisions which were further mentioned in the rules to issue the certificate. Next is abolition of Mulki rights. When your rights will be abolished, if the Mulki persons or the person who is having the Mulki certificate go against the Nizam decision or fight against the Nizams or talk something against the Nizams or very disobedient to the Nizam's rule, then the Mulki certificate will be abolished to a particular person. Yes, so abolition of a Mulki rights. If the person or a Mulki go against or work disobedient to the Nizam state, then the certificate of that particular person will be abolished. So apart from this, in order to overcome this Mulki's issue, Mulki and non-Mulki's issue, the recruitment process should be happen in a impartial way. ఎవరినైతే మనం సివిల్ సర్వీస్ ఎంప్లాయీస్గా రిక్రూట్ చేసుకున్నామో వాళ్ళని ఇండిపెండెంట్ బాడీ ఒకటి పెట్టి అవి రిక్రూట్ చేసుకోవాలి. అండ్ నిజాం గవర్నమెంట్ రికమెండేషన్స్ కానీ ఫాల్స్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ద్వారా కానీ నాన్ ముల్కీ షుడ్ నాట్ కమ్ ఫార్వర్డ్ అని చెప్పేసి body was established that is called Civil Services Executive Council. For what purpose? It is an independent body to recruit employees. Why this was made as an independent body? As we came to know that many number of non-Mulkis were gaining the positions of the Mulkis and acquiring and occupying and capturing literally the jobs which were preserved for the Mulkis through fake and false fraudulent practices. So in order to overcome that, Civil Services Executive Council was established, which was considered as an independent body to recruit the civil service employees. And non-Mulki jobs, which were the earlier things itself, non-Mulki jobs were still considered as temporary and Mulki jobs were considered as a permanent. And every jobs for the government job should be provided based on the written examinations, and even Mulkis have to be preferred in the promotions. Already we have read like promotions లో కానీ శాలరీస్లో కానీ జాబ్స్లో కానీ ముల్కీస్కి ఎక్కువగా ప్రయారిటీ ఇవ్వట్లేదు. సో ఇవన్నీ ఫర్మాన్లో ఇవన్నీ రూల్స్ ఇంతకు ముందు కూడా ఉన్నాయి, ఇప్పుడు కూడా వన్స్ అగైన్ ది సిమిలర్ రూల్స్ విత్ అ డిఫరెంట్ వర్డ్ అండ్ సెంటెన్స్ ఫార్మేషన్ చేంజెస్. సో సిమిలర్ రూల్స్ ఎస్టాబ్లిష్డ్. Yes, then what was the issue? As you already know, Mulki movement is going on parallelly and the farman is also issued. Mulki movement continued because as Mulki rules were not followed. Once again the problem is at the implementation level. Every Nizam ruler or every report is clearly projecting that the Mulkis were being discriminated by the non-Mulkis, and the non-Mulkis were using the loopholes of the particular law and gaining lot many jobs. It was clear cut, but despite that we are issuing one more law or one more farman, but we are not much concentrating on the implementation level, where the implementation level itself is lacking. So Mulki movement continue అయిపోయింది. ఎందుకంటే Mulki rules అసలు మొత్తానికి ఫాలో కూడా అవ్వలేదు. ఎందుకు? బెస్ట్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్ I'll tell you. A person from the Punjab who was considered as a non-Mulki was appointed to a prominent position which was actually preserved for the Mulkis. You can see that Khan Sahib, who was a non-Mulki who belongs to Punjab category, he was appointed in the higher post, and domination of the non-Mulkis still prevailed. Mulkis were denied promotions. Yes, so why the Mulki agitation continued? మీరు ఫర్మాన్ 1919 ఏదో పెట్టారో అది అసలు ఫాలో కూడా అవ్వలేదు, ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేయలేదు. అండ్ ఇప్పటికీ కూడా మోస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ది హయ్యర్ పొజిషన్స్లో నాన్ ముల్కీస్నే అపాయింట్ చేస్తున్నారు. ద బెస్ట్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇస్ ఖాన్ సాహిబ్ వాజ్ అపాయింటెడ్ యాజ్ అ హయ్యర్ పోస్ట్. అండ్ ప్రమోషన్స్లో కూడా యు ఆర్ గివింగ్ మచ్ మోర్ ప్రయారిటీ టు ద నాన్ ముల్కీస్ ఇన్స్టెడ్ ఆఫ్ ముల్కీస్. సో and the domination of the non-Mulkis was not contained. Earlier manam Salajang 1 measures చూసేటప్పుడు it was too good andi, like at a time he is also decreasing the domination of the non-Mulkis and also increasing the representation of the Mulkis. But you can see that Farman 1919 lo like they tried that okay Mulkis have to be given representation, but they did not much tried to reduce the dominance of the non-Mulkis. So already వాళ్ళ డామినేషన్లో ఉన్నారు, దాన్ని రెడ్యూస్ చేయకుండా ఎలా you'll provide the justice? So domination of the non-Mulkis were not ensured. సో నెక్స్ట్ అగైన్ 1919 అయిన తర్వాత మళ్ళీ ఈ ముల్కీ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ అనేది కంటిన్యూ అవుతుంది అండ్ దెర్ వాజ్ లా అండ్ ఆర్డర్ ఇష్యూ. సో అగైన్ మీర్ ఉస్మాన్ అలీ ఖాన్ హ్యావ్ ఇష్యూడ్ వన్ మోర్ ఫర్మాన్, దట్ ఈస్ ఫర్మాన్ 1933. ఇన్ దిస్ ఆల్సో ద ముల్కీస్ priority of the jobs have to be given to the Mulkis, but this time also same, you have to be educated and qualified. ఎలా ఎడ్యుకేట్ అవుతాం, ఎలా క్వాలిఫికేషన్ ఎలా మనకు ఇంప్రూవ్ చేసుకోవడానికి చాయిస్ ఎక్కడ ఉంది? ఉస్మానియా యూనివర్సిటీ వాట్ ఈస్ థింగ్, ద కరికులం వాజ్ much more comfortable to the non-Mulkis because that the curriculum was made in such a way that it have to provide only the basic education to the Mulkis. It was not to provide or imbibe the skills among the Mulkis. Then how you will be educated properly and how you will be gaining the skills? So even though you made how many rules, but at the implementation level and at the ground level, the situation is continuously different and continuously it is degrading day by day. So still again, farman consists of the priority have to be given to the Mulkis, and education and qualification is the mandatory thing. So there was a circular for strict implementation of the Mulki rules. ఇంప్లిమెంటేషన్ సరిగా చేయట్లేదు కాబట్టి మళ్ళీ ఇంకొక ఫర్మాన్ పెట్టి ఇవన్నీ రూల్స్ అన్ని స్ట్రిక్ట్గా ఇంప్లిమెంట్ అవ్వాలి అని చెప్పేసి మెన్షన్ చేశారు. సో యూ కెన్ సీ హియర్ all the Mulkis 1919 and 1933 farman established చేసిన తర్వాత the ruler was Nizam ruler was like vehement that you have to implement the rules mentioned here strictly అని చెప్పగానే all other activists మన Mulki activists కానీ Deccan nationalist scholars కానీ అందరూ కలిసి they have accumulated at a particular place and they have organized a conference, and in that conference they have discussed that whatever the farmans which were issued, those were good, but these non-Mulkis were not letting these provisions to be implemented. So we personally thank and we provide certain, like we are providing our gratitude to the Nizam and cheppesi they have organized a conference. Mulkis expressed gratitude towards the Nizam for favorable measures in the meeting which was held at Hyderabad. ఈ మీటింగ్కి ఎవరెవరు వచ్చినారండి? మెనీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ పర్సనాలిటీస్ ఆల్సో కేమ్, లైక్ కొత్వాల్ వెంకటరామరెడ్డి గారు, పద్మజ నాయుడు గారు, సరోజినీ నాయుడు వాళ్ళ డాటర్ అండి, అండ్ బూర్గుల రామకృష్ణ గారు, అండ్ మందుముల నరసింగరావు గారు, మీర్ అక్బర్, అలీ ఖాన్, అబ్దుల్ హసన్ సయ్యద్ అండ్ లతీఫ్ సయ్యద్, అండ్ మెనీ అదర్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ పర్సనాలిటీస్ ఇన్ విచ్ వీ రీడ్ ఇన్ ద సెకండ్ చాప్టర్. అందరూ పర్సనాలిటీస్ ఈ కాన్ఫరెన్స్కి అటెండ్ అయ్యి దే షోడ్ దేర్ గ్రాటిట్యూడ్ టువర్డ్స్ ద నిజాం దట్ ఎస్ మీరు ప్రొవైడ్ చేసిన రూల్స్ అండ్ రెగ్యులేషన్స్ అండ్ మెజర్స్ అన్నీ మాకు చాలా నచ్చాయి అని దే ఫెల్ట్ వెరీ హ్యాపీ. You can see that Raja Bahadur Venkatramiredi garu, Sarojini Naidu gari daughter Padmaja Naidu garu, Mandumala Narsinga Rao garu, and Burgula Ramakrishna Rao garu, and Mir Akbar Ali Khan. So these are the certain pictures you have to remember, and whose వీళ్ళు మళ్ళీ మనకి ఎడ్యుకేషన్ యాక్టివిస్ట్ అన్నిట్లో వీళ్ళందరూ వస్తూ ఉంటారు. నెక్స్ట్ వాట్ హ్యాపెన్, ద దివాన్ బహదూర్ అరవముడు అయ్యంగార్ కమిటీ. వాట్ ఈస్ దిస్? Yes, this was appointed by the Nizam to study the prevailing conditions in the state and proposal for political reforms. This was appointed on 22nd September 1937 and it submitted the report on 19th July 1939. So ఇది థర్డ్ ఫేజ్ ఆఫ్ ది ముల్కీస్ అండ్ నాన్ ముల్కీ ఇష్యూలోనే ఉంటుందండి. సో దీంట్లో ఏం చెప్పినారు, ముల్కీ యాక్టివిస్ట్ అండ్ ఇంటలెక్చువల్స్ మెనీ అదర్ పీపుల్ దే గేవ్ నోటీస్ టు దిస్ కమిటీ. ఈ కమిటీ రిపోర్ట్ ఇవ్వకముందే మన వాళ్ళు మన ముల్కీస్ ఎవరైతే ఎడ్యుకేట్ చేస్తున్నారో దట్ వీ హ్యావ్ మెనీ ఇష్యూస్ అండ్ వాట్ వాజ్ ద ఇంజస్టిస్ డన్ టు అస్, ఇలా నాన్ ముల్కీస్ డిఫరెంట్ పోస్ట్లని క్రియేట్ చేసేస్తున్నారు. సో ఇవన్నీ మీరు నోటీస్ చేసి ఒక ఇండిపెండెంట్ బాడీని ఎస్టాబ్లిష్ చేసి దట్ ఇండిపెండెంట్ బాడీ హ్యావ్ టు రిక్రూట్ ద ముల్కీస్ అండ్ బేస్డ్ ఆన్ రిటర్న్ ఎగ్జామినేషన్ అని చెప్పేసి దే హ్యావ్ గివెన్ అ నోటీస్. ఎస్, Diwan Bahadur Aravamudu Iyengar committee was established on 22nd September 1937. For what purpose, Nana? To study the prevailing conditions in the state and also to propose certain political reforms. Then what are Mulki activities and intellectuals and different Deccan nationalist scholars they have done? They took this opportunity and they brought a notice to this committee that what was the injustice done to them, and they urged to establish Hyderabad Public Service Commission for the appointments. But you can see that based on this recommendation given by this committee, the Mulki definition was made much more stringent in 1945. And they told that while appointing anyone to the government jobs, impartial measures have to be prevailed, that no partiality have to be given. And based on recommendation, you should not appoint any government officers based on the efficiency of the persons you have to appoint. That was, it means that after the Diwan Bahadur Aravamudu Iyengar committee, the Mulki rules were made much more stringent. But you can see that in 1938, Hyderabad State Congress and many other activists have demanded responsible government. Even after the Diwan Bahadur Aravamudu Iyengar committee, the Mulki rules were still not yet implemented in a proper way at the grassroots level. The rules and the stringent rules and regulations were existing still on the paper. So reality ki vachesariki ఏవి కూడా ఇంప్లిమెంట్ అవ్వట్లేదు. టిల్ 1938కి మనకి హైదరాబాద్ స్టేట్ కాంగ్రెస్ అండ్ యాక్టివిటీస్ వాళ్ళందరూ ఇంకా నిజాం వల్ల మనకి ఏమీ అవ్వదు, వీ వాంట్ అ రెస్పాన్సిబుల్ గవర్నమెంట్ అని చెప్పేసి దే డిమాండెడ్. సో వీ కంటిన్యూ ఇన్ ద నెక్స్ట్ టాపిక్ హౌ టు డీల్ విత్ దిస్. ఆల్ దీస్ టాపిక్స్ కమ్స్ అండర్ యువర్ థర్డ్ ఫేజ్ ఆఫ్ ది ఇష్యూ ఆఫ్ ముల్కీస్ అండ్ నాన్ ముల్కీ ఇష్యూ. ఎందుకంటే 1948 హైదరాబాద్ ఇంటిగ్రేషన్ ఇంటూ ద ఇండియన్ యూనియన్ వరకు కూడా ఈ టాపిక్ కంటిన్యూ అవుతుంది. థ్యాంక్ యూ ఫర్ లిజనింగ్ ద తెలంగాణ మూమెంట్ క్లాసెస్.